Mr. Chagulanyi and his evil foreigners that back him failed to understand that Uganda is a land of spiritual and political matters.
The duly elected
President Museveni was declared the winner of the 2026 presidential election.
Total number of invalid.
An election described as repressive with several human rights abuses.
The president should account.
Several people were killed. And many voices suppressed.
I don't want to show them that I'm broken.
One marked by killings, agony, pain, and a persistent lack of accountability in the country's electoral cycles.
The Uganda Communications Commission has directed all licensed mobile network operators and internet service providers to implement a temporary suspension of the following services. A, public internet access. B, sale of and registration of new SIM cards. C, outbound data roaming services to one network area countries. In respect of the principle of legitimate aim, the internet restriction directed is in line with the legitimate purpose, that is protecting national security, public safety, and public order.
These hasty instructions by the Uganda Communication Commission on January 13, 2026, were delivered 3 days before the date of the presidential elections. Soon, the internet was shut down. This was not the first time that the government cut off communications channels as a way to crack down on opposition.
The regime in Uganda has switched off the internet because they want everything in Uganda to go on in the dark. They are very aware of what they are planning to do, to rig the election, to brutalize people, to kill people. And they don't want the rest of the world to see it. And as you know, democracy dies in the dark.
This investigation exposes several election violence incidents and killings in the country. We looked into undocumented cases of police excesses, establishing a timeline of atrocities during the 5-day internet shutdown in Uganda.
What is the story? For what? What have you done?
Day 1, January 15th, 2026. Location, Luero. According to police, 3 people were killed and 34 are reported to have been arrested after protests erupted over election results. One of those killed by security agents that fired live bullets into the crowds was 36-year-old Sarah Nagayi. She was laid to her final resting home on January 16, 2026, amidst a somber mood. We attended the funeral. To date, this family is still grieving the loss of a mother, wife, and sister who was killed by the security forces. And just a stone's throw away, in Mabale, is 51-year-old Proskovia Nalweiso, who has been left with the heavy burden of raising her grandchildren after their father, Serubiri Henry, was murdered on the eve of the general presidential election. Proskovia is a casual laborer who survives on doing odd jobs. She has long suffered from ill health, with multiple complications that she has had to manage over the years. According to the police, 3 killings were recorded in Luero. The families of those injured and the deceased are left in despair, with little to no support from neither the security forces or any government entity. Day 2, January 17th, 2026.
Having obtained the highest number of votes in the election, and the votes cast in his favor being more than 50% of the valid votes cast at the election, the Commission hereby declares Suhabro Kaguta Museveni the duly elected President of the Republic of Uganda at the presidential elections held on the 15th day of
President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni was declared the winner by the Electoral Commission. According to the Commission, he won with 71.65% of the vote amid the repression, defeating his main challenger, Robert Chagulanyi, also known as Bobi Wine of the National Unity Platform, who was declared as second with 24.72% of the total votes. And on day 3, January 18th, 2026, President Museveni delivered his victory speech.
I want to thank the armed forces for maintaining peace.
President Museveni accused sections of the opposition of planning violent attacks on polling stations, describing their actions as a coordinated effort to destabilize the country. A country that he has led for over 40 years now.
Something happened in Butambara. A character called Chivumbi was defeated. Now the plan everywhere was that where Nup is defeated, gangs with the pangas. You remember pangas? With the pangas should attack the polling station. And that's what they did. When Chivumbi was defeated, they came with the pangas to attack the polling station and they were shot. 7 of them were shot dead there with the pangas.
For emphasis, we will highlight a few lines here.
When Chivumbi was defeated, they came with the pangas to attack the polling station and they were shot. 7 of them were shot dead there with the pangas.
We'll pause this here for now. Internet access in Uganda was restored a few minutes after his address, and a 5-day shutdown ended on January 18th, 2026.
General public internet access was fully restored. This includes web browsing, access to news websites, educational resources, government portals, financial services, email, and other essential online activities.
Once access was restored, Ugandans went online to share their thoughts and vent about the election, posting on social media platforms like X, formerly Twitter. But what was most eye-catching was this. The Chief of Defense Forces, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, On day 4, January 19th at 9:28 p.m., tweeted, and I quote, "We have killed 22 NUP terrorists since last week. I'm praying that the 23rd is Kabobi," end of quote. Kabobi is a nickname that the general uses to refer to Bobi Wine. At 9:46 p.m., General Muhoozi tweeted, and I quote, "We will kill on sight all NUP so-called foot soldiers until Mzee says otherwise," end of quote. Almost an hour later, Muhoozi posted, and I quote, "Personally, I'm embarrassed by our record. 22 killed in 1 week is too low. I promise to do better," end of quote. But these social media posts from the highest-ranking military officer in the Uganda People's Defense Forces were seen by the opposition as a direct threat to criticism. These statements have sent Bobi Wine, who was referred to as Kabobi in the posts, into hiding for fear of his life.
Right now, I'm speaking to you while in hiding. This is because as soon as the election was finished, Museveni's son, who is also chief of the Ugandan military, issued an order to take me to him, dead or alive.
Bobi Wine went into hiding soon after the election. Meanwhile, other National Unity Party officials, including Deputy Chairperson Lina Zedriga and Western Region Deputy President Jolie Tukamushaba, have been arrested and detained.
Bobi Wine is my president. Unless you kill me, I'll say that forever and ever.
For example, in Butambala, at the house of Honorable Mwanga Chivumbi, people were shot and killed in one house by the police.
Mwanga Chivumbi, the outgoing member of parliament for Butambala constituency, was a point of reference in the president's speech.
When Chivumbi was defeated, they came with the pangas to attack the polling station and they were shot. 7 of them were shot dead there with the pangas.
Chivumbi was arrested in connection to political violence in Butambala. According to police, 7 people who they claimed were his supporters were shot dead on the 16th of January 2026. The police further stated that these individuals attacked a polling station in Butambala wielding machetes. Investigative program Islands obtained video evidence from the scene. While some eyewitnesses were afraid to speak out, we were able to speak to some. This is Honorable Mwanga Chivumbi's home in Butambala, where the 7 people with pangas that the president referred to were shot and killed. Islands received exclusive content filmed on the eve of the shooting. In the video, we see blood-stained floors, spent cartridges, injured victims, and bullet holes in the walls. Live rounds were clearly used here. We, however, didn't find any evidence of pangas as said by President Museveni. We spoke to Honorable Mwanga Chivumbi, who was now a suspect in the killings, an interview just a few hours to his arrest.
They're simply trying to run away from a massacre that was occasioned inside my house. And for me, that's it. The bottom line is the president should account for the dead. The security officers and the RDCs should be arrested and made to account because they were on the scene. Now, if they want to run away and say it's me who killed, we have cartridges that were picked in the morning. All guns in Uganda are engraved, and you can tell which gun fired which bullet when you look at the leftover of the cartridge. So if the police is thorough and wants to do a non-partisan job, they will arrive at one conclusion. They'll simply go and arrest the head of operation of that day, the RDC and the DPC and the officers that massacred innocent Ugandans.
He was later arrested on terrorism charges stemming from the violent incidents in Butambala. Caught up in the rubble that fateful night was the late Ruth Nakanjako. She's believed to have been killed in the shooting at Honorable Chivumbi's home. Aisha, at 25 years old, is struggling to comprehend everything. Is a survivor of the same shooting. Aisha says she was among Honorable Kivumbi's supporters that day. She witnessed the horror shooting at his place, and memories of her mother's killers still linger on her mind.
No, since I'm the eldest, and I have my little sister and my little brothers. I try hard to be strong, I don't want to show them that I'm broken.
Quite a sensitive subject to discuss among the community in Butambala, but she has the resolve and determination to speak about the events on that day.
But it just keeps coming back. When I saw her, the way I tried to wake her up, and those words that the army people said when I told them that they need to help those people, and they said they can't help them, they can't do anything.
Her then husband, Joseph Cheyune, is now struggling to explain to his son the whereabouts of his mother. A conversation quite heavy for him to have.
Obuzibu bungi bwetuyita mpozzi nga simanyi Katonda y'amaanyi kubanga byonna y'asinga obitegeera.
She is now the mother figure in the home.
I have to stay strong for them, because if I just keep on crying in front of them, hiding myself and all that, it will affect them more. Not even most.
Aisha is deeply pained by the president's statements.
That's why he said, but that's not true, because I was there. And just Amir said that the people that they killed, they were not from Butambala. Yet you've seen, okay? We had nothing. Not even a single stone, not even a single stick. We have no guns. We're at home, Honorable's place.
This is Nakanjako's final resting place. She's a victim of a violent election. Misfortune befell Joseph's family. Millie Nampereza, a single mother of 5 children, now orphans, was shot dead at Chivumbi's place. Zaitun is Millie's daughter.
Then kabina bamuwalula ne wajjawo ebbweddene, then bamukuba wano mu kisambi essasi, wano nga waliwo ebbwa, ne wano waliwo ebbwa ku mukono, then ne wano ku bulago babaasika bulago ne baleetawo ebbwa simanyi nakumanya. Ng'ebigere byonna byegattanye bwe biti nga takyafaala ne bakusaba bamuleetera.
It was a painful death for Millie. Her body was deformed beyond human recognition. Quite dehumanizing. Several witnesses we spoke to told us that Millie's body was undressed and shamed by the security forces that should have protected her. This video was recorded at the dawn of the shooting. And these onlookers examined some of the remaining items of the deceased that day. This is what was left of Millie that day. her dress was abandoned at the shooting scene. Millie's mother is struggling to deal with the death of her daughter, a pillar she heavily relied on. Those are some of the Ugandan citizens who were believed to have been shot in February this year, not by criminals or terrorists, but allegedly by security forces of their own government. Killings that the president described as necessary.
Uganda is a land of martyrs. In my New Year's speech, I made this reference, but people don't listen to my speeches. They think I'm just talking. I never talk anything. Everything I talk is deliberate and decisive. If you read that speech of my New Year, I said, you people, Uganda is the land of martyrs, if you don't know.
We've heard what the president said. However, our investigation has shown that Millie, Sarah, Ruth, Serubiri Henry, and others lost their lives at the hands of security forces that should have protected them. A memory lane of killings, agony, pain, and a total lack of accountability in Uganda's election cycle.
I, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, swear in the name of the Almighty God that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Republic of Uganda, and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. So help me God.
For the many citizens who contributed to this project and whose names may never be known, and for those who continue today and tomorrow to work towards a better East Africa, we stand with you.